Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of YarninBlak. Today I've got a mate on Kobe. I'll introduce you to Kobe in a second, but first I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm calling in from. I'm here in Baldwin Q on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and I'd like to pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and any other Aboriginal people that have joined us today, including my guest Kobe. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on, AJ.
No problem. But hey, for people that don't know who are you, where you're from?
Yeah, so my name's Kobe Williams. I'm a proud Ballardong Noongar boy, which is the land of out in WA, out in Western Australia. So my dad's a very proud man from the Ballardong Noongar region. I found myself now I'm in Melbourne, met AJ through Scotch College, which I was very lucky enough to get an opportunity to go to such an amazing school through the scholarship program. And yeah, AJ's been an unreal mentor for me and just kept me in good stead ever since. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, Kobe.
No worries.
Hey, so we just talk about, you grew up in Western Australia, didn't you?
No, I've always been Melbourne, but all my mobs from Perth, WA.
Yep. So take you back a little bit to when you got into Scotch College. Where were you going to school before then?
So I was at Maribyrnong Secondary College, which was a really cool school. But the main thing that I found with Maribyrnong and Scotch College was I think I was the only Indigenous kid there, which for me kind of like prohibited me from learning a bit about my culture and understanding more about it, as I was the only one there and probably with limited knowledge compared to some of my other friends that I knew that were Indigenous. So when I found out about this opportunity to come to Scotch College and they had an unreal program that benefited young Indigenous kids, I couldn't deny it and took it with two hands. And ever since I've been there, you get like surrounded with people from all different regions. Like there's boys from, New South Wales, there's boys from Western Australia with completely different upbringings and completely different stories to tell, and all, get to learn about their culture. And I just found that so fascinating and I couldn't deny that opportunity. So it was a major shock changing, but it was really cool.
What were some of the shocks that you had to get used to coming from like Maribyrnong? And for people who don't know where Maribyrnong is, it's right near High Point Shopping Centre.
Right next to it, yeah.
So from coming from Maribyrnong to the private school, what was that like?
It was a lot different. Obviously, private school life is completely different world. Maribyrnong was amazing, obviously. Like, I loved it. The people there were unreal. But, it's a different world at the private school. When I had my first tour, I was, looking around like, this place is like Hogwarts. Like, I'm like, what is this place? Like, this is like something I've never seen. Like, you got the beautiful ovals, all the big, large, brick buildings that were just so, like, prestigious and old. And it's like, how cool is this? Like, it was something like I've never seen. And it's like, to be given up this opportunity, it was like you can't say no. Like, it was too good.
So what grade were you when you came over?
I finished Maribyrnong in year 9, so moved over in year 10.
And you went straight into the Bordeaux, or were you a day student?
No, I didn't actually end up boarding. I was a day student, and I had the opportunity to board. I'm from Newport, Williamstown area, so it was about a 45 to an hour commute each day, up and back. So, at the start, it's probably a bit tricky waking up a bit earlier than I'm used to, and probably a couple tired and like late nights, just, with footy and stuff. But eventually, I got used to it, and seriously, I couldn't change it for the world. But maybe if I had another chance, I might would have gone into the Bordeaux and been along some of my brother boys, which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. So what subjects did you finish off in Year 12 doing?
So I did 5 subjects. I obviously did English, I did general maths, I did PE, accounting and business management.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so a bit of commerce, so I like that sort of side.
Yep. So you graduated last year. So what are you doing this year?
So yeah, obviously finished up last year, got through all my exams pretty well. I got into Swinburne Uni for a business degree. I deferred that though. I deferred it for a year
Yeah.
because I'd love to take footy seriously and, try to give myself a good chance at getting picked up by an AFL club, hopefully, which is the dream. But at the moment, I'm just working casually doing some landscaping, which is some pretty hard work. But,
Yeah.
builds character, I guess.
Yeah. So tell us about the footy. So where would you like to be, and what's the training schedule like at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, the dream is AFL. Like, I've got plenty of mates that got lucky enough. Like Jack, who I'm sure has been on here before, and yeah, just being so close to him and being able to talk about what he does and pick his mind and stuff and hear about his schedule. It's really cool, and like that's just the end goal for me. I find that really fascinating. As my dad used to play for the Hawks,
Yeah.
so to try fill out that dream that I have would be unreal. And yeah, at the moment I'm training at the Western Jets and Footscray Bulldogs, which is the VFL team for the Western
Yeah.
Bulldogs, which it's a really good program. Just playing some good footy at the moment at round 4 at the minute. So yeah, just taking it week by week and hoping for the best. But I just don't really want to leave any stone unturned. So
Yeah.
just give my best, give my all, and yeah, have no regrets at the end of it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
At least you can say you tried.
Exactly, and that's the main piece of advice I've been given. Just you don't want to have any regrets. Like in 5 years' time, if it doesn't work out, I don't want to be sitting there being like, I could have done this, I could have done that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. It's really
So
good.
what's the training routine that you're doing at the moment to stay fit?
Yeah, so we got 2 trainings a week, one on a Monday and one on a Thursday. So that just involves that in season. It's a bit different to pre-season. So pre-season's a lot of getting fitter, getting stronger, a lot more like strenuous on the body compared to in season. In season's a lot of maintenance stuff. So like
Yeah.
maintaining the level of fitness you're at from what you build up over pre-season because you obviously got the game and stuff, so you don't want to be too tired. So Monday, Thursday train, and then I'll go to the gym Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday just to get my body nice and fit, nice and strong. And I've had this schedule for about a year now, so it's worked out pretty well. And yeah, I guess we just keep on continuing on this path.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, how do you get drafted?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year the process was you play like if you're from Victoria, you play your like rep level of footy, so that's from your region. So I'm in the Western Jets. I know a few of the Scotch boys were at the Oakley Chargers, so there's a couple of regions out there, and you obviously verse all the different regions. So I had a game or two where I diverse all the Scotch boys, which was good fun. I had to match up on Jack versus Mingara. It was pretty cool being on a different team with them because I was used to being on their same team at Scotch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you play in your regions, and obviously you just need to put your best foot out there and show what you got, kind of. And people obviously go and watch, and then I guess the better footy you play, the more heads you turn. You can try to get selected for Vic Metro, and then that'll put you in very good stead to get into the system. And then there's a night on November where it's draft night, and there's basically around 70 selections. And well, I know all the Scotch boys. We were at Parkside Footy Club watching Jack. We were trying to watch the Jack, and lucky enough, he got picked up, and it was pretty cool to see, get around him and celebrate his fun time. So yeah, no, it's pretty cool the way it works. So yeah.
Yeah. And if you get drafted, you can't defer it, can you? You have to take. You have to take it, then, can you? It doesn't work like uni.
No, it's not like uni. So, yeah, once you nominate for that, if you get picked up by any club, you can't say no. Like you put yourself out there, so you might be moving across Australia, and you don't know. Like, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, without jeopardising any of your chances, is there any team you would like to play with?
Oh, look, I've always said it. Any club would be a blessing. Seriously, like it's my dream, and I'd go anywhere. But I'd love to play for the Bulldogs or the Hawks. I've had a pretty close connection with both those clubs. My whole junior footy, going for the Hawks goal growing up. So
Yeah.
yeah, it would be. Oh, but seriously, anything would be just the coolest thing ever. Like I'd love to move over to WA if I had to. Like just taking that opportunity with, two open hands. So yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready for a big move?
I reckon it's a lot easier said than done. Like you can always say, like I'd go anywhere, which is what I just said. Like I'd love to go out to, Western Australia to play footy, but I think you probably don't really realize it until you're actually in the moment. Like all factors obviously come in. Like for me, I'm a big homebody, so I don't know how I'd go, but I'd obviously try take it. But factors like you might get homesick, probably miss family, which is all common factors. But I'd try have the best time possible and make the most out of it if I did ever get that opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, going back to your school before you got to Scotch, how much Aboriginal studies was taught at your previous school?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love talking about this. So basically none. So, which was a bit, I don't know the right word to put it, just like I was really unaware of my own culture and how much there was to it and how, cool the background stories of all of it is, because I wasn't too educated at all. I'd practically no knowledge at Maribyrnong because it wasn't like natural, or wasn't like no one knew about it because there was no Indigenous kids there, which for me I didn't really realise it. And then when I moved to Scotch, I'm like in this zone where I'm with all brother boys, and it's such a cool like environment because you just learn off each other. And when we have mentors like you coming in and teaching us about our culture, how to dance, like I know at the start, like I've never danced previously, and then coming with you, you've taught us all this stuff, and it's been like the coolest thing ever. And I love learning about culture, and I just want to keep on doing it. But it's just kind of hard when there wasn't that environment around you at Maribyrnong. And that's why I was so grateful for Scotch, because there's unreal people and unreal resources like you out there that are willing to help and give back to the kids.
And we should let everyone know that, your group actually changed the history of Scotch by actually, yes, becoming like a bit of a dance troupe, but wait a second, they changed the valedictorian night, the first one in 170 something years, to allow you guys to actually perform that night. And I hate to use the word perform because I suppose to everybody else it was like a performance, but you guys were displaying culture.
Yeah.
And you had every parent in Year 12 and all the Year 12 students glued to you guys for that 6 minutes that you were actually on the stage. And that was pretty amazing for them to score.
I'm getting goosebumps now, like hearing you speak about it. Like that. Like I remember when the idea got pitched to us, we're like, oh, like that's like pretty big. Like valedictorian, like it's never like it's been the same schedule every single year. Like you start off with like the principal talking, and then but they like from hearing Scotch being able to say like we're happy to change this for you guys because we want to learn about you. That was like such a warm, welcoming like moment for us, and I know how much we cherish that moment and how special it was towards us. Because it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had at Scotch. It was so special just to be alongside all my brothers, and I'm speechless speaking about it. I love it.
Can I ask you a question? How nervous were you just before you guys went on?
Oh yeah, no, I can't describe it. I remember we went in a bit early, did some practice, and I think when some of the boys like opened the doors to the actual hall, were like, "Wow, this is massive!" Like it wasn't just like your average room with just a stage. Like there's cameras, there was like everything, and like every little like thing you did got picked up. Like it was it was crazy, and the nerves, like I was shaking before, and I'm like, you just don't want to stuff up, but that obviously just gets done in the moment. Like once you're doing it, you're in there, you're in the moment, and you're just showing culture. So yeah, doing it was good, and you got the hang of it after our first dance, which was pretty cool, our opening ceremony. So yeah.
Yeah, I just remember waiting and running, because I had to run around between all the door entrances to make sure you guys were okay.
Yeah.
And it was just like, holy shit, they're stressed. They're about to go. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And all we kept doing was hugging you guys, going, it's fine. You'll be fine. Once you're out there, you'll be fine.
No, I remember it. Because we waited, and there was silence in the crowd, and then there was just like a bit of like, I think Dion welcomed us, and we were really silent. It was really silent, and then just I think the didgeridoo started going, and then that was like our sign, and we looked at each other and we were like, okay, it's time to go. And then just from there it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's actually opened up the opportunity, because this year's boys are actually going to play at what's that night that they have in the Hammer Hall?
Oh, Foundation Day.
They're gonna perform at Foundation Day as well.
You're joking.
No.
How cool is that? So so the day where they do all the music and all the boys are dancing.
Yes.
Really? How cool is that? Like to open the night?
I think it's. I don't know if it's going to open the night or open the because you know how they have to have everything set up beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't think they can clear the stage and get everything done at the first performance. But at the middle, after the intermission, I think that's when they're going to be putting the boys on.
That's so cool. I need to go now. I need to find a way to get a ticket or something and have a watch of the boys. But that's so good. That's so cool to hear, and it's so good that it's expanding, and it's constantly just the awareness and the like want for all other people to learn about our culture. It's really like heartwarming. Like as I've said before, like I haven't really ever been asked about like my culture, and like it just seems like it's just like another thing. Like no one really cares, but like the people at Scotch, like they love seeing it. Like they think it's so cool, and they love learning new stuff, and we love sharing it. So it's a win-win both ends. So it's really cool.
Yeah. What did you like best about the mentoring program that we did at Scotch?
I think for me, it was probably a bit different to the other boys. I know the other boys were already pretty like culturally familiar. Like they understood a lot about their culture. Whereas for me, I was a complete beginner. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know basically anything about my culture other than where I was from. And I think the ability to be around such a good environment of people that are willing to help you out, willing to teach you, willing to learn, it made it just made me so much more comfortable to learn. Because I think when I didn't know anything about my culture at the start of Scotch, I was a little bit, shame's not the right word, but I was a bit like embarrassed to like step out of my comfort zone and learn about stuff, because I thought it was a bit like, I don't know about my culture, but they do. Like, that's embarrassing. I should know that. Like, I thought I had a little bit of that about me at the start. I'm like, I'm scared to open up and say, like, I don't know too much about my culture, but the boys and you leading us, like, I remember every session, like, I got something out of it. I learned something new. Like, I was playing clapsticks, I was making art, like, just everything, it's an experience I'd like wouldn't have it any other way. And just to be able to learn about my culture, I still want to keep on learning and keep on learning new stuff, because it's so cool, and there's so much history to it, and you can't learn enough. So I just want to keep on going with it. And I was so lucky and fortunate to be in such a cool group.
Yeah. What I really loved about the mentoring group was I was trying to give you guys experiences that you would not normally have occurred, and even from some of the guys that were a bit more culturally knowledgeable, things that they wouldn't have done either. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Some of the stuff we did, like, I know, well, for me, like, everyone learned new dances, and that really showed towards some of the boys' leaderships. There was definitely boys who stood up and, were like, let's lead and let's help each other out, let's get better. And it was really cool for, you definitely got other people in to help us. Like, I remember it, and we just learned, like, so many cool stories and so many new, like, things that we'd never heard before, which was just so cool, and I was so grateful, and it's so good that this is just going to keep on continuing for all the new generation of Scotch coming through.
Yeah. I've just been there. This is my 10th year at Scotch.
Is it really?
Yeah. I started in 2016, so this is 2026 now, so 10 years.
Wow. I can't believe it's 2026. That's ridiculous. 10 years since 2016. But, yeah.
What makes you proud to be Aboriginal?
Yeah, okay. I'll have to think about it because it's a good question. I'd probably just say just probably being proud of, knowing the history of it and understanding the history that we were the first people on this land, and being proud to stand up for my people. And, like, I find it so cool, the history of, I know I already said that, but and being such a small group of people in such a large, like, pond, like, it's so cool, like, understanding how there's so many different unique, like, upbringings and different ways of, like, learning about your culture, that everyone can all bond together and learn about how, our family ways and what happens and stuff. So I find it really cool how everyone has their own unique story, and I'm just proud to share that, especially with me. There's not many Indigenous people, so at any chance I get, I love, talking to my friends about, my culture, and they're all, really, really, like, really open to hearing it, and they love hearing about it because it's something they haven't heard before. So I love just teaching new people about the stuff I know, which I don't even have amazing knowledge, but I love just sharing what I can and how I can help people, which is really cool.
Yeah. Now you want to play footy, I know that. One question I've got is that we have seen a lot of racism in football. And as much as some people don't want to admit it, we know it's there. How prepared are you from a mental health perspective in terms of you going out there, your Aboriginality is up for discussion in the public arena? How are you ready for that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's obviously, as you said, it probably gets, like, undermined a little bit, the actual impact. Like, people just think that it's like, racism is not a thing anymore, which is a complete lie. Like, it's obviously still there, and as much as we don't want to admit it, it's there. And obviously, growing up, there has been, I'm not going to lie, I have dealt with some, like, instances of, bullying for racism. Like, it's not easy, and it's obviously confronting as a kid, and you don't really understand it. And I know for me, when I had my instance, I just broke down crying because I wasn't prepared for it, and I didn't understand how someone could, put you down for something like your culture. Like, you can't control that, and that's something to be proud of. So when I had to deal with that, it's obviously really tricky, but I think the main thing that you need to do is just come back to the people, like your support base, and the people that you love, and the people that are there for you, and the people that care for you.
Yeah.
So it's obviously pretty tricky, and it's definitely, like, it definitely gets talked about, and, with social media, it only gets worse, to be honest. Like, people can hide behind a screen and say what they want, which is pretty pathetic, but it's a sad world we live in. But I think the main thing is just, you got to be proud of it, and you can't, get ashamed of it and be quiet. You need to stand up for what's right, because that'll ultimately stop the hate, and, people will understand what you, who you are, and, where you come from. So I think that's the main thing with good.
Yeah, and I know it's so important. You said go back to the people that support you.
Yeah.
And you know that I'll always support you, even though you've left the school.
Yep.
I'm still a huge support system for many of the boys, and that includes you as well.
No, I know, and yeah, you seriously do not understand how much you've helped towards my journey and how much it's taught me about my myself. Like I'm learning stuff about myself from you. So it's pretty cool, and I love it. And I still want to get back to Scotch and come back to a session with you when you're teaching the boys, because it's an experience you can't get for free. Like it's once in a lifetime experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's really good that you're willing to give back to all these young boys.
Well, I have to tell you, I do enjoy it as much as you guys enjoy it. I do enjoy it as
Yeah,
well.
that's really good.
Being there each or twice a term really grounds me. So you know me. I'm always traveling somewhere. I'm always doing work.
Yeah,
At least when I go back to the school, I get grounded as well.
yeah, yeah.
Just a couple of final questions. One, the word cultural safety gets thrown around quite a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
what does cultural safety mean to you? But what makes you feel culturally safe when you go into other organisations?
Okay. So culturally safe, I'd say culturally safe means to me like just feeling, obviously feeling safe, but feeling like welcomed and like just like you're another person, like you're welcomed into an environment that you know is open to hearing about where you're from, where your culture is, and who you are as a person, really. And I think the thing is with that, I think with a lot more workplaces nowadays, they're starting to like integrate like an Indigenous support staff, which is really good. And it really like people probably that's just like, oh, it's just another person, but people don't get how much it means to you. Like I know at the university at Swinburne where I got into, there's Indigenous like well-being people that are always there for you. You can always go in their office for a yarn and stuff, and go speak to them whenever you need to. So I think just being aware and being comfortable and not feeling out of place with your culture is probably what it means to me, and just having a good, yeah, as I've said before, like having a good support team around you that are willing to be open and listen to you.
Yeah, I think what you've said is great. I think for us, sometimes seeing another black face in the organisation actually is reassuring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes you feel like comfortable, like you have someone there that is probably in a similar boat to you, and they understand it, and they want to care for you, and they want to make you feel comfortable, and want to make you get out of your shell and
yeah,
speak about yourself. So yeah,
yeah,
it definitely is reassuring and definitely helps a lot.
yeah. The other question I've got is and I ask all my guests this one, if I gave you $1 zillion and a magic wand and said that you could change something in Aboriginal affairs in this country, what would you want to change? Where would you start?
Yeah, I'd probably just that's really hard. I definitely want to give back to the people that have helped me all this way, and definitely give back to the people in need. So if that's starting like little community groups that can help educate young Indigenous people and give them pathways that they may not have at the moment, because
Yeah,
obviously it's not easy. It's not easy. Like not everyone has the luxury of having a house over, like a roof over their head, and having a an education that's really good, and a safe living environment. So definitely coming back to thinking about the people, and the people that are less fortunate, as people like me and other boys who went to Scotch. Like I definitely come back to that and try create like a support system and try help people that are in need of help and aren't as fortunate as people like me. So yeah, I definitely come back to put other people above myself.
yeah. Got two questions left. The second last one is what's something about Kobe that people don't normally know about you,
Um,
and that you're willing to share with everybody?
yeah. Well, I'd probably just say that probably that cultural aspect, because I know obviously growing up, as I've already said previously, I, I wasn't too big on like sharing anything because partly I knew nothing about it, and it was kind of like it wasn't really like spoken about at all. Like people were just like, oh, like you're Aboriginal, like okay, like what does that mean? Like I didn't like know anything, and I love when people are actually interested and want to learn about it and want to learn where my people are from and who they are and just anything about me. And I love speaking about it, but I probably wanted like a goal for myself is to be more open of sharing and not
Yeah.
waiting for people to ask me or like because there's definitely people out there that wonder, but they probably just maybe they don't want to ask a question or something. So I want to put myself out there more. That to be a challenge for myself. Just put myself out there more and learn as much as possible and give back to other people as possible and teach them and learn off other people just about my experiences.
Yeah.
Probably the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah. My final question is, what would you like people to walk away with from our yarn this morning?
Probably just. You got a good question here. Probably just come back to like bring yourself grounded. Like make sure you know who you are, and make sure you're a grounded person, and make sure you're always trying to give back. Because obviously you can't be in the position you're in without the people around you. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I was given. Like, for example, at Scotch, like being able to get opportunity like that was just unreal. And it only would have been done with the people around me. So I think the main thing is just, look around you and appreciate everything that has been given to you and appreciate all the people that are willing to help and, willing to make you the best person possible. So I think just that appreciation and thankfulness for everyone around you. That's probably what I'd say.
No, I agree with you. I quite like that. Hey, just before we go, I want to say how much I'm grateful for you to, come on my podcast. But you also know how much I love and respect you.
Yeah.
And look, I'm really proud of the man that you've become, because I can still remember that shy little boy that kind of rocked up at the beginning of year 10.
Yeah.
Coming to one of our first sessions,
yeah.
which didn't say too much.
No.
But by the time you're in year 12, like, it was like kind of getting you guys to shut up and listen to me.
Yeah. No, I remember it too, and I exactly remember our first year 10 session. It was on one of the first days, and we were learning to dance. And yeah, I remember I was probably trying to hide out the back. I was a bit, as I said before, a little bit embarrassed. I didn't know what to do, and just getting out of your comfort zone was the main thing, and that's what you really really pushed for us to get out of your comfort zone and learn something new and get better and just experience that, which was really, I'm so thankful for that. So I just want to say thank you so much, AJ, for all the opportunities you've given us and also having me on this podcast because it's been unreal. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Look after yourself always, and we'll continue to talk. And guys, I'll see you at the next podcast.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
See you later. No worries.